What's up, Previews World?
No, sorry. I was totally looking at my notes. I don't know why I anticipated an intro. My bad. What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday. It's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. I guess I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I mean, we're here. I'm your other
Here we
host, Ashton Greenwood. Guys, I'm in my Star Wars shirt. It's a
Oh,
good
nice.
day.
Okay, it is a good day. It is a good day. You know what? I was doing a soft Star Wars marathon yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, started with the tail end of Revenge of the Sith, and then kind of skimmed through Rogue One, got to New Hope, and then fell asleep during Empire Strikes Back. But I'm definitely going to continue because that's my favorite one. So
Hell yeah.
we're in the process. I'm trying to give Liz here an education in Star Wars, and she's making it a laughable, if nothing else.
Yikes.
What's going on, Ashton? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Hi, Dave. Happy day, Dave.
Happy day indeed. Dave, what's up, Dave? How's it going? What else we got in here? Ubaldo, the usual suspects. What's up, Ubaldo?
Okay.
Hello, guys.
Welcome back.
Star Wars shirt. Awesome. Yes, it is. I love it. That's actually a really good shirt. I have to give you credit for that one. Every time you wear that, I'm like, that's actually pretty dope. I like that one.
I love this shirt. It says like Return of the Jedi down the sleeve, which I think is super cool.
So, all right, I guess we should talk a little bit about the Duchess of Free Comic Book Day thing, should we not?
We should talk about Free Comic Book Day. Weekly reminder, May 7th at your local comic book shop. We had previously announced 46 fantastic titles you can get for absolutely free. Earlier this week, DC also jumped on the train and announced 3 of their own titles that you can also get on May 7th at your local comic book shops. It's all the same thing. It's their own Free Comic Book Day books. We make it easy for you guys. You just show up and you say, I want this Free Comic Book Day book. I want this one from DC, whatever. They'll help you find it. So help me with the names here, Troy. I know they're doing DC Super Pets.
Yeah, DC Super Pets, which is a nice little tie-in to that upcoming animated film featuring The Rock and Kevin Hart, but also a book called Galaxy, which I'm not too familiar with. But it looks like it's more of a young readers introductory thing, probably part of like some sort of a DC young readers line. But then also there's Dark Crisis, which I have been told, and I've seen this across the internet a couple of times, that this is not one of those earth-shattering, multiversal events. This is something different. So we shall see. But the artwork is great on the cover, so I'm very curious what they're going to do with that. And those are all dropping May 7th, right? Is that what you said?
May 7th.
All right, at your local comic shop and for free. How about that, guys? All right, what do I got to talk about? What do I got to say? What are things going on in the world right now? Actually, of course, Super Bowl happened.
It happened.
There was a Super Bowl.
There was a Super Bowl. There was a big game.
There was a big game. There you go. Sorry. Yes. Copyright strike right off the bat. So, all right. First of all, did your team win, Ashton?
I mean, I was okay with whoever won. I wasn't rooting a particular way, one way or the other. I mean, Matt Stafford was exiled in Detroit, losing games for the last 12 years. So I was excited to see him win for once.
All right. I mean, as the LA Rams started to falter in points, I was kind of like, I kind of hope they come back, and they did, which was kind of nice. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. But of course, this is a nerd show, so we know you guys don't really necessarily. Most of you don't really care about the actual sport itself, but you do care about the trailers, the commercials, right? So let's talk a little bit about some of the commercials we saw, and I'm going to rope in Johnny Rose, production manager extraordinaire, into this conversation
because he's in a Star Wars shirt too.
Yeah, that's right. I'm the only one not in the Star Wars shirt.
I'm also wearing a Third Eye comic shirt here as well.
Perfect.
Repping the local comic shop.
You know what? Next time I go to Third Eye, which I've been going to often because I live closer to it, I'm going to pick up Third Eye shirt myself because I was thinking about that when I was in there. So I'm going to show them some love to them as well. But yeah, so we got a nice little lineup of nerd adjacent trailers, right? During the super big game.
The super big game.
Or as they would say in What We Do in the Shadows, the superb owl.
The superb owl. I love that because I actually only just saw that episode like about 3 weeks ago, so that was the most hilarious thing to me. But yeah, we got a nice rundown. Doctor Strange, there was a DCU trailer, Moon Knight, Jurassic World, and right now we have Lord of the Rings. I'm curious about this. Apparently, it's not going to be connected to the Peter Jackson movies, which I mean which is understandable. I mean, it's not Peter Jackson did not create Lord of the Rings. That's a fact. So whatever direction they want to go with this is cool. But any thoughts on this?
I mean, is this going just strictly off of like J.R.R. Tolkien's like written material?
apparently, and like correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the
Ooh.
chat, but apparently this is based off of his appendices.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
so this is like kind of going back to some of the stuff that he had written like years ago. And so yeah, not connected to Peter Jackson, which is fine. That's cool. I'm with that. So interesting copyright shenanigans going on
I
with this
mean,
too.
it looks visually stunning. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
looks great.
I love the Lord of the Rings movies when they came out, so I'm excited about this. I mean, everyone's going to equate it to those Peter Jackson films anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah, of
if
course.
they want,
Right.
that's fine. Which I'm sure the filmmakers of this were going to take into consideration.
Right.
But I mean, look at this. The graphics on this and the CGI and the visuals just look amazing. So I think that's going to look really cool. What else do we have here? The DC one. I mean, this has got stuff that I'm just all excited about. Me and my group of friends go to see all the comic book movies when they come out. It doesn't matter if they're Marvel, DC, whatever. So just to see Rock in the Black Adam costume, it looks amazing, and just see some more footage of the Batman and the Flash and what was the other one in here? I forgot. The Batman, Black Adam, the Flash.
Yeah,
Aquaman.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Aquaman, I'm a little less excited for, but you know what I thought was interesting about this is it's very hopeful.
Oh, interesting.
And which which instantly got me more interested in whatever the DCEU has coming up next, because the previous round of DCEU stuff was very bleak. For the most part, and they've been slowly transitioning out of that with some of the last Aquaman movie and the Wonder Woman movie, but it looks interesting, and I am all for the Batman. What about you, Ashton?
The message is it's saying right there in 2022 the world needs heroes. So you're right, it does seem very uplifting and hopeful. Yeah,
look at that Dr. Fate. That's great. What do you think, Ashton? What's your thought process on this?
I'm actually really excited for the Batman. I'm super excited to see Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I think that's a fantastic cast. So I'm really interested to see what she does with that. And I'm surprisingly excited to see this Batman movie. Generally speaking, Batman is something you can kind of overdose on, but I don't think I've reached that point just yet. I'm sure it'll come, but so far so good.
So far so good. Okay.
I'm also excited to see Pattinson's take on Batman. Because everyone discounted Michael Keaton as the initial Batman. Everyone discounted Heath Ledger as the Joker. So I think that Pattinson's going to surprise us. So I'm excited to see it. And then we also had Moon Knight, which didn't really give us much. It was just more of a 30-second teaser. We didn't see too much more that we haven't already seen in other trailers. It's a couple extra shots and whatnot. I kind of slept on Moon Knight early on. My only experience with Moon Knight was when Stephen Platt did the artwork back in the mid to late 90s, I think it was, when he was looking all veiny and buffed and whatever. So not getting that look here, but I mean, it's I will always give an MCU property, a chance. I love what they're doing with the MCU. But dude. By the hoary hosts of Hogarth, good Lord. I saw the Doctor Strange trailer. Basically, first of all, let me just say that there was a Super Bowl spot that came up, and it was only 30 seconds. And I saw this, and I was just like, "Everyone, shut up, quiet!" There were kids running around. I'm like, "Go downstairs right now. I need to hear this." But I mean, that was just.
Johnny banned the children.
But I mean, the fact that you see stuff like this, right there, that to me looks like Zombie Wanda from the What If series.
Oh, you might be.
I don't know if that's the case, but that looks pure demonic right there.
Demonic.
But then at the end, it says, "Watch the full trailer online." So that's the very first thing I did. Is I've got the phone out and I watched the whole thing, and I've probably watched this 20 times. Since this came out, I've watched the Easter egg and breakdowns videos. Oh man, it's hard to believe. The first Doctor Strange came out in 2016, so it's been 6 years.
Been a good minute.
Wow,
it's been 6 years since Doctor Strange has had his own film. He's been other movies as as a supporting character. Exactly. I mean, even in the What If series. So we haven't had a Doctor Strange solo movie for him, this character, in 6 years. So. And the first time I saw it, it was in 3D, and it was amazing.
It was great in 3D. It absolutely was.
So stuff like this, I cannot wait to see the where's the effect in here. Give me 1 second. this part right here where his face gets all like fractally, like that's going to be amazing in 3D. I can't wait to see this.
No, Sam Raimi is going to have a ball with this, man. Like,
and the fact that it's Sam Raimi with the soundtrack by Danny Elfman.
Oh, is it Danny Elfman on this?
Oh, it's Danny Elfman, dude.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're talking about soundtracks. There you go.
Scratching so many itches that I cannot wait for May 6th to
come. Fun random fact that I would know is Danny Elfman and Sam Raimi had a little bit of beef after the Spider-Man movie. So
did they really?
Yeah. There was just a little bit of like they couldn't agree on like the direction of certain things, and like Danny Elfman that was actually, from my understanding, the movie where Danny Elfman was like, I'm not doing any more big budget films ever again. Mm-hmm. Like he was like, I'm done. He's like, it's just me and Tim Burton till the end of the world.
If you want, I need to do a little bit of speculation here. So if anyone doesn't want to hear this, spoiler warning now.
Oh boy!
But this shot,
don't say it, Johnny. Don't say it, because you're gonna get my hopes up, and like it's gonna. I don't know. Okay, go ahead. Do it.
No, we're doing this because, okay, first of all, him walking into this chamber makes me think that this is the Illuminati from the Marvel comics.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So there's a shot here where you hear a voice off screen that says, "We should tell him the truth." Mm-hmm. And you see a little figure wheel forward.
Oh, you think he's wheeling forward? Okay, interesting.
Okay, first of all, like, you know what? Look how smooth he comes into frame.
Yeah,
he's floating. Like a person walking into frame would not just like appear like that. Mm-hmm. That's Professor Xavier. We're going to see. If you listen, you can hear Patrick Stewart's voice in that.
You know, I was kind of like trying to listen to see who that was, and then I kind of like told myself, all right, Troy, stop, don't do this to yourself.
Oh no,
that's wild.
I just did it to you, so I apologize.
What'd you say, Ash?
That's absolutely nuts. What if that's true? Like,
yeah,
well, there's gonna melt down.
There's a rumor, and I'm hesitant to say this, but there is a rumor that the story goes that Tom Cruise was originally supposed to play Iron Man.
Oh, I've heard that, yeah.
Oh, right. God.
And so this was back in the like mid-90s. This is before any of this MCU stuff was even an idea, right? But Tom Cruise was a big deal at the time, you know?
Okay, true, yeah.
And the rumor has it, and you just sparked another thing in my head with the Illuminati talk, because I didn't even think about that, Johnny. But the rumor has it that Tom Cruise is going to show up as Tony Stark in this movie.
As the superior Iron Man, I believe.
As maybe the superior Iron Man. That I think would be actually pretty amazing. I know Ashton's rolling her eye. But I think that would be great, because I'm such a Tom Cruise mark. I'm sorry, but I am.
He's gonna dip into his like Mission Impossible repertoire, and like part of the footage is gonna be like just Tom Cruise just inexplicably on the side of an airplane in midair or something like that. Like he's playing Iron Man, he has a suit, yeah, but stunts.
Right, got to do.
Oh, last thing, I'm gonna get into this because like this is all technically canon, I guess, if we see it in the poster. But this is the poster for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Mm-hmm. You look in the bottom right corner, and that's the shield that Captain Carter had in the What If series.
Yeah, interesting.
So I feel like I'm more excited about this than I was about Spider-Man No Way Home.
Right, yeah. And Spider-Man No Way Home blew the doors off. So I'm actually really interested in where they're going to go with this. We'll see. We'll definitely see. I don't want to speculate too much because, you know, we set ourselves up on WandaVision.
Again.
Yeah, oh my God.
This is all speculation. We're not involved in the movie. We do not have any insider knowledge. This is all fan theories and hopeful wishes and just May 6th cannot come fast enough.
All right, real quick. Does anybody care about Jurassic World? I kind of feel like that was an afterthought to me.
Oh my God. My one thought about Jurassic World was it gave me the biggest Fast and Furious, but with dinosaurs vibe.
Yeah, because dinosaurs are just roaming the streets of like Italy or something for some reason.
And they're like in cars and like crashing into walls, and people are jumping off roofs, and dinosaurs are jumping off roofs. And I'm like, where's Vin Diesel? I'm waiting for it.
Well, son of a bitch, they did it.
Universal, Universal. Well, there's people been also rumoring a lot about a Fast and Furious Jurassic Park crossover. I hope to God that never happens, but there you go.
I will say though, it is really cool to see Sam Neill and Laura Dern like come back to the franchise. So I will give that a shot too.
I don't know. I have so many reservations because I feel like Jurassic Park is such a strong movie.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to say classic. I want to say that it's so like exact and so like on point with everything it executes that like now that we're 4 movies in, I'm like, ugh.
We're 5 movies in already.
We're 5 movies in. Jeez, yeah. Now that we're 5 movies in, I'm just like, I just feel like we're undercutting the legacy of the original Jurassic Park. I mean, the movie's still great. Don't get me wrong, but the longer these things get in the tooth, I'm like, please stop doing this.
Yeah, have they learned nothing from their past experiences? Like the first 3 movies, like we're gonna have dinosaurs in the park. The next 2 movies that came out with Chris Pratt, oh, we have another park that has dinosaurs. Yeah. Everything will go fine this time.
Right.
Anyway.
So, and then they got that like genetically modified dinosaur child from the last movie. I don't know how that's going to work out.
No comment.
No comment. Anyway, let's move on because Lord. Thank you, Johnny. Johnny just ran away. All right. How about we talk about some comics for God's sakes?
Please.
Okay. What's a comic?
Yo, Johnny was quick with that. What?
There you go. Oh man, we're 17 minutes in. We went way too long on that. I recorded the game so I could view the commercials of the IFF through the game bits.
Fast forward.
I was about to say Fast and Furious through the game bits, Fantastic Four through the game bits. Sorry, Dave. You got to be a little bit more careful with the abbreviations. If you read the miniseries from the 90s, Jurassic Park's dinos managed to hop islands. Oh, the Tops comic series. I'm not going to take that seriously. I'm sorry, Richard. No. If you're talking about the comic, like as far as I'm concerned, the only canon we need to be concerned about are the Michael Crichton books. That's about it, and the Steven Spielberg stuff. All right, let's get into some picks for this week. Ashton, how about I'll go first? I'll go first this time. How about that?
Mixing it up.
I'll do a little something different this time. So I am all about, I know like it's so high pitched, but I am all about the new Donny Cates, Nick Klein Thor series.
Okay.
It is actually just perfectly timed with the Hulk series that I've already recommended and that I'm already reading. And so it's a little gimmicky, right? And I don't, but at the same time, it's a type of gimmick that I like, which is that Mjolnir is sentient. Like,
ooh, okay, I could get behind that.
Right? Okay, it's like it's a magic hammer, right? Okay. They used magic to create it. They went to like just you saw in Infinity War. They went to the dwarves and Nidavellir. They like made the hammer for it, and now the hammer's kind of like, no, I want to do something different now. And the latest issue, which I think is issue 4, is basically threatening the Avengers with this basically the hammer versus the Avengers. Right, it's issue 22. Sorry, it was way off. Threatening the Avengers with the hammer, and there's a little sneak peek right now on PREVIEWSworld.com, and it looks like absolute chaos. Like it's basically, it's basically the Avengers versus Mjolnir. And it's Donny Cates. Donny Cates, of course, did King in Black. He, of course, did Thanos Wins. Definitely some of the more the fan favorites from the last couple of years. And I kind of feel like this is just more of that sort of goofy 90s fun.
Okay.
that I think Donny Cates excels at. Like he takes it seriously just enough that it's like, oh God, what's going to happen next? But it's also always in good fun. And these last couple of issues, again, not a big Thor fan, but in terms of reading the book on a regular, I just don't do it. But like, this is one of those times where I'm like, I'm locked in. And also, like I said, this is running neck and neck with his run on the Hulk, and so they're already kind of promising like a crossover between those two books. Which not only am I a sucker for a good gimmick, but I'm also a sucker for like just continuity, between titles. Like it makes me feel as a reader like some sort of gratification. Like I'm definitely getting my money's worth because, they reference this thing in this book and back and forth. So especially if you've been reading the Donny Cates stuff up until this point, from Thanos Wins to Cosmic Ghost Rider to, King in Black, definitely little Easter eggs that will reward you for being a longtime reader. So definitely pick up Thor number 22 from Marvel Comics. What's your pick this week, Ashton?
Okay, I'm going to surprise no one and pick some sort of like post-apocalyptic dystopian.
Go for it.
All right, my pick this week is Quad number 1 from Behemoth Comics. It's set in the final decades of the 21st century, and this massive solar flare has crashed into Earth, and pretty much destroyed all technology. So, no global comms, no nuclear reactors, and no sort of like financial records, no social media, no computers. And of course, if there's a solar flare crashing into the planet, there's bound to be some sort of like climate meltdown. So it's just chaos, The situation has never been more dire. But so there's a group of survivors that are kind of trying to harbor this new reality and make their way through. And of course, it zooms in and focuses on our key character, Tara, and her pet cat, Elvis. Great name for a cat. But I always pick these things because I'm really interested in kind of what they can say about how we function as a society. And I'm really interested in what this could do in terms of what tech means to us. How do we function without tech? Are we too far gone as a people? It's so ubiquitous now and it's so involved in everything and pervasive that if we were to lose it, where does that leave us? Can we recover? How do we recover? And how does it affect kind of our long-term ability to interact with and communicate with one another? So that's why I love these, and I'm excited to see what they do with this.
No, I actually think that's really fascinating. We actually have that as an exclusive first look. I want to say back in November, thanks to Behemoth, they give us once a month. They give us an exclusive, just preview inside like one of their upcoming titles. That was one of them. And yeah, I'm with you. It was the same thing. It's very fascinating because it's so ubiquitous, like technology. Yeah. It's like it's ingrained into everything we do, and what happens when it all goes away?
I don't know. It's a great question. Like, can you come back from that at the point we're at now? And then fast forward it to the end of the century, it would be even more ingrained in society at the end of the 21st. Like, can you even function without it at that point?
No, exactly. I mean, at that point you have generations that have just don't know anything else. It's like us trying to use an 8-track. It just seems we would just be confused. We just wouldn't know how to that. That's still technology, but it's an older technology and it's obsolete now. So there you go. Real quick, we got Wanderly Dornelis from Brazil saying, "Here watching you guys. Love your channel." Thank you, Wanderly. I appreciate that. Much appreciate. So let's kick it over to Anamia real quick. She's got some comics. And she's going to show you what's available at your local comic shop this week. Here is what's at comic shops.
Hey Previews World, Mia here with a look at what's at comic shops for the week of February 16th, 2022. So let's jump on in. And we're just getting started. The world of comics has even more to offer. So stop at a shop already and you might just find your new favorite thing. See ya.
You know what? I forgot about that PJ Holden Garth Ennis book, The Lion and the Eagle, which I also am looking forward to. That's a new #1 from Aftershock Comics. So yeah, and it's a war book, that's Garth Ennis is so great at war books. Like that is like his bread and butter. So that and crime stories. So yeah, definitely check out all those titles available at your local comic shop today. Go to PREVIEWSworld.com/new releases. And yeah, just let the world of your local comic shop just open up to you. Just discover everything. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. Actually, we're going to talk a little bit more about something that you definitely want to pre-order in news. So we're going to get to news. How about right now?
I'm ready.
Ma, we want the news. What's she doing up there?
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. These are just going to get wilder and wilder as they go on, and I'm so for it. Johnny's just going to break us every single time.
Meatloaf.
Oh God, I love it. Anyway, should I go first now? I don't know. Like Johnny totally broke us.
What are we doing? Are we talking about Moon Knight?
We're talking about Moon Knight some more. There you go.
Guys, we're back to Moon Knight. Okay.
Oh god.
I'm ready. I'm good. I swear. Okay. I'm serious. All right. So Jonathan Hickman. Okay. Jonathan Hickman and Chris Bachalo are joining the Moon Knight team. Okay, I'm ready. I'm here. They're joining the Moon Knight team. Marvel has been doing this series of books where they're telling stories in a very limited color palette of just black, white, and red. So this title will be very aptly called Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood. And so these two absolutely iconic comic book creators are coming together to take readers 6,000 years into the future to introduce an all-new hero who's taken over the Moon Knight mantle. And this last living priest travels throughout distant galaxies to avenge his fallen god and master. So you're going to have this available for pre-order right now. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words. Available for pre-order right now. Comes out April 14th. If you head over to PREVIEWSworld.com right now, we have a first look at some of the early character sketches from Chris Bachalo, if you're interested in that, and they are insane.
My only reservation about this is why couldn't this just be a mini series or something, like, because this is just going to be like a little short story and Black, White, and Blood. So I'm like, yeah, I want a Jonathan Hickman, Chris Bachalo, Moon Knight series. Like, that's what I want. But yeah, these look great. Like, Bachalo is definitely the type of person who should be doing a Moon Knight comic of some sort, so that's really awesome. Also, speaking of awesome, I know there's definitely some Shaolin Cowboy fans out there. That is one of those series that has a very strong cult following, and it is well deserved because it comes from Jeff Darrow and Dave Stewart, who are like titans in the comics industry. And so this is from Dark Horse. This year, Dark Horse Comics will publish Shaolin Cowboy: Cruel to Be Kin, an all-new 7-part comic book series of action-packed intellectual drama by award-winning Jeff Darrow and Eisner Award-winning colorist Dave Stewart. The latest installment in the Eisner Award-winning Shaolin Cowboy series is set in the Phase 4 of the SCU, where the Shaolin Cowboy finds his parenting skills being tested when he's forced to homeschool during a pandemic of unparalleled violence.
Oh boy.
In a story torn from yesterday's viral Twitter feeds, can he get a kung fu grip on the situation before a horde of 45 loving human monsters and not so human monsters send him to the ICU? Only guns, swords, and flying guillotines will tell. And so this also, of course, promises some cool variant covers from Mike Mignola, Alice Darrow, Frank Quitely, Ed Pisker, Stan Sakai, Steve Scrooge, Duncan Fegredo, Jim Rugg, Katsuya Tarada, James Herron, and Sui Hark, which I thought Sui Hark was a filmmaker, so that's actually kind of interesting. But yeah, this is coming out May 18th, 2022. So definitely look for it at your local comic shop. It's Shaolin Cowboy is one of those things. I should have gotten into it a long time ago, and I haven't. So you know what? I might use this as an excuse to finally pick it up because it's everything I love. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's totally ludicrous, and it's got great artwork by Jeff Darrow. It's kung fu. It's cowboys. Like. I should be all about this, so I'm definitely going to check that out when I get the chance.
Yeah, sure.
You know what? I might have made a mistake and told Johnny that we were going to talk about JLA Avengers third, but we should probably talk about that last. So, do you want to jump ahead, Ashton, and talk about Serpent's Heir, book 1 first? First look?
Not really.
Not really. You're not prepared for that one.
I don't have any talking points on that. I can make up a bunch of gobbledygook and offend loads of people doing so.
Okay. All right.
Maybe we shouldn't take that approach.
Well, wait. Do you have something for Grimm?
No, I did. Okay. I just pulled some points on the JLA Avengers because you said third. But I guess
okay. Okay. So then, all right. No, cool. I was just making sure. I wasn't sure if you prepared for it. So you go ahead and take the reins. Go for it. Talk about JLA Avengers for us.
Okay, well, I'm going to make it quick because I know you want to talk about JLA Avengers the most. So I'm just going to hit the high points of like the logistics of what are happening here, and then you can tell us why this is significant and something you should have a freak out about.
Okay.
All right, so JLA Avengers by beloved George Perez is going back into print for the first time since 2008. Thanks to the Hero Initiative, they teamed up with Marvel and DC for a special edition reprint of JLA Avengers, which was this intercompany crossover. Huge deal. Everyone freaked out about it. Troy's going to freak out about it for us in just a sec here. But the specs, this book will be enormous. 288 pages, full color, soft bound volume, collects all 64 pages. And it has additional companion content, including reprints and introductions by Stan Lee and Julius Schwartz, and bonus content from the original writer Kirk Busiek. It will be limited to 7,000 copies. So definitely are going to want to pre-order this. Go to your local comic book shop. Make sure you get one, because I imagine it's going to be difficult to get one after the fact if you haven't pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
Retails for $29.99 and will be hitting comic shops in March.
Yep. And actually, I will co-sign. Head on over to PREVIEWSworld.com/pullbox and reserve your copy, because as Ashton mentioned, it is limited to 7,000 copies. So I just want to give a little background on this, because I think that that's actually really important. JLA Avengers, before the situation involving the Hero Initiative and George Perez, was already kind of like this contentious thing between Marvel and DC, right? It was a crossover that was proposed, I want to say, in the late 70s. It kind of bled over into the 80s, and they could never quite get it off the ground. And by around, I want to say, the 2000s, because of, I want to say, Joe Quesada and Bill Jemas, they finally made it a reality, and it's a great crossover. Like, it's a lot of fun, and it's written by Kurt Busiek, who understands these characters so well, and it's drawn by George Perez, who understands these characters so well. And of course, recently George Perez revealed that he has had cancer, right? And he has decided to kind of discontinue any medical assistance that he would be provided to him. And that also came on the heels of him saying that he wasn't going to be doing any more conventions, which is totally understandable. But fans, ever since that announcement, have been demanding that Marvel and DC reprint JLA Avengers to give him to support his medical bills and to support his family. And here we are. I did not think that was going to happen. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I really did not think that was going to happen.
Really?
Yeah, I just was like, no, that's not going to. Yeah, it's like, this book came out in, I want to say, 2003, 2005. The comic industry was very different. The comic industry was a lot smaller. And, while Warner Brothers owned DC at the time, Disney wasn't in the mix at all. You know what I mean? And so I just kind of felt that when these larger entities become involved, it becomes way more difficult to make this a reality.
Right.
But they did. And I have read, I don't know if this is necessarily true, but I've read that Mary Severin, who is the current editor-in-chief at DC Comics, and of course has worked at Marvel and DC, was instrumental in getting the needle moved on making this a reality. Yeah. So just a little bit of background there, because I think this is actually probably the biggest story we're going to get this week. Here's something that, has been long out of print, and has been long out of print for any number of issues, including copyright issues and, just the logistics of it. But they're doing it for George Perez, and I think that's really awesome. And like Ashton said, reserve your copy, because the cutoff, I believe, is going to be February 21st. So it's coming up real fast. And the book itself will be in stores March. So definitely get a hold of this, because there's no guarantee this book is ever going to see light of day again. Now, I have an old copy, of course, for myself that I've had for some time. But, the only way you're going to get this book, I guarantee you after this, is probably going to be through eBay, which is probably going to be a grip. Right. Probably going to cost you a pretty penny. So definitely take advantage of this for sure. All right. Enough about that. I just wanted to point that out, because I thought that was big news, and like it just dropped today. Sorry if we were unprepared to talk about that a little bit. It's just because it happened, like, I think I want to say about like 3 or 2 o'clock today.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of like, oh God, we got to talk about this in news. And I was just excited about it. So also going on in the world of comics, there's a new series called Sea Serpent's Heir from Marguerite Scott and Pablo Tunica. So Image Skybound debuted a first look on Valentine's Day of Sea Serpent's Heir, Book 1, Pirate's Daughter, which is an extraordinary tale of growing up and changing your fate. It's from acclaimed creators Margaret Scott and Pablo Tunica. Scott, of course, has worked on the Star Wars titles and Guardians of the Galaxy, among other things. Tunica is the artist on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Universe and a couple of other things as well. This book is dropping October 2022, and it marks the release of the first original graphic novel in the fantasy young adult trilogy from Skybound Comics. So this is actually Skybound's kids line or young adult line.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And this is going to be for ages 12 and up specifically. And the question that's at the center of this book is, what if you were destined to destroy the world?
Oh no.
For Ayala, life on Kinnaman Isle was one of boredom, spending her days fishing and minding her aunts. She dreams of life beyond the horizon. So it was just watching Star Wars the other day, and that sounds very Luke Skywalker-y, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything changes, however, when she awakens an ancient evil within herself, as it's revealed that she's a reincarnation of Zur, the serpent that almost destroyed the world. Worse yet, a fanatical religious organization has arrived on Kinnaman Isle in search of Zur. So yeah, this is Sea Serpents, Pierre Book One, Pirate's Daughter. It'll be available at your local comic shop. Look for it on Wednesday, October 12th, and it is available to pre-order, I believe, right now, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Because and also, don't miss out on Clementine #1, which is also going to be one of the Skybound comic books, and that's dropping on Free Comic Book Day. So there you go. A little plug for Free Comic Day on top of that.
Little Walking Dead spinoff deal.
Mm-hmm. If or when is the Obi-Wan series coming out on Disney Plus? I don't know, but I've been hearing a lot of stuff about it. I know they're revving it up. Do you know that one, Ashton? I feel like this is something that you might be on the.
I mean, it's definitely for sure happening. There's no if about it. I don't know if that's been given a release date yet, though.
I mean, they did like a soft
May
release.
25th.
May 25th.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I just looked it up.
Thanks, Johnny.
Yep.
Okay. Missed opportunity. Could have been May 5th. Why didn't they do this?
Oh,
I mean, May the 4th. I'm sorry.
They should have made it right.
They should have made it May the 4th.
However, though, the late May has a more significant spot in Star Wars history because if I recall, that's around when the initial movie came out.
Oh, when New Hope came out. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yep. Makes sense. Oh, Dave Brown saying thanks in the comments. All right. Let's move on here. Okay. So what else is going on? Oh yeah, Snyder and Capullo. So this is kind of cool, right? We've been teasing on PREVIEWSworld social media the last couple of days, and you'll continue to see me teasing this on social media. The Scott Snyder Greg Capullo interview for We Have Demons, which is a series that is bringing them back together, even though to hear them say they never were apart, right? But bringing the creative team back together for this Dark Horse series that was originally released on Comixology, but now it's getting a print version on through Dark Horse Comics, which of course means it's coming to your local comic shop. So here we have a snippet of Scott Snyder explaining what We Have Demons is, and when we come back, I'll tell you a little bit more about the interview. Check it out. So let's talk about We Have Demons. Neither of you are strangers to the horror genre, right? But on the surface, that's what this book feels like. But what is We Have Demons really about? What's the elevator pitch? And I'll start with you, Scott. What can you tell us?
Essentially, it's about a girl who discovers that her father, who's this small town preacher, is actually part of a secret organization that's been hunting demons for centuries called the Glories, and that he was sort of the John Wick of this group, and that his partner was someone who's like a semi-demon, this huge hulking guy named Gus, who's part of a tribe that was extinct long ago. And so she finds herself like cast into this whole battle between good and evil. And the way that you get your blade to light up in this world to be able to fight a demon is to have faith in something. And so she has to find her own form of faith. But the thing that I love about what Greg did with that design for the demon was that once he came up with that false set of eyes, it gave me the idea to have the demons have this almost kind of hive mind, or this hive sort of evil connection between them, where if the person knew you in life, they know all of that stuff still. And so they see you and they're looking at you in a way that's terrifying. And to use those eyes that he drew on the head symbolically, so that if you're facing off with a demon, that demon is going to say things to you that sounds true and awful about yourself, about the world. They know secrets about you, all of that. So it's like those false eyes looking at you and saying, I'm not false. I know the truth, and I'm going to tell it to you, you know? So it's like it's a great back and forth. I mean, I think Greg's the best in the business when it comes to design and when it comes to emotion and acting and all of it, which I think sometimes people overlook because his action sequences and the gore and the horror is so great. But it sparks my imagination to be able to be like, you know what, I can push myself as a storyteller because I know he's going to come up with things that are, you know, just are going to elevate all my ideas and then make me want to be better on the second pass.
All right, I just want to say thanks to Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. I had a moment when the interview flipped back over to the actual interview, the shot of me. I was like, wait a minute, is the camera on me? Because it's like the same background. I'm wearing a black shirt. I was very confused for a second. I was like, oh wait, what happened? But I was like a deer caught in headlights.
You incepted yourself.
You're right. I was like, whoa. But yeah, shout out to Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder. And yes, Greg Capullo is also part of that interview as well. And we had a nice conversation. I want to say it went for about maybe 30-40 minutes. And then we talked about We Have Demons. They talked a little bit about just their creative history together, some stuff working at DC. And yeah, it was just a fun interview. He was picking up his kids from school when we had the interview, which is why he's in the parking lot at the time. And it was probably his kids calling him like, where are you?
Oh, how relatable.
So definitely check that out. That's actually dropping next week. I want to say it's on the 24th of February. Yes, the 24th of February, the full interview. So definitely keep an eye out for that on the Previews World YouTube, Facebook. We'll, of course, post snippets of it on Twitter and Instagram as well. Yeah, if you're a fan of their work, then you definitely want to check this out because this is one of those titles that brings, at this point, a legendary creative team together again. Yeah. So definitely check that out. Keep an eye. And I know you're a Snyder fan because of Undiscovered Country, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely your jam. This might be your jam as well. All right, man. It's 42 minutes. Okay, let's get into this art swiping thing because this is going to be a conversation. I know it's going to be a conversation. Right. Ashton, let's do it. Social swamp time.
Okay, so I'm actually thinking before we jump into viewer responses here, there's a little bit of background and context that might make this make a little more sense. So Troy, why don't you kind of lob this up with what's been going on here?
Yeah, actually, as soon as I said that, I was like, wait, we agreed that I was going to give some context here. So artist Joelle Jones, right? She is the current artist on, I believe it's actually Catwoman. For DC Comics. She's also just a very well-known artist in general. She's done a lot of really cool stuff. She actually got in trouble, I want to say, and this is not my opinion, but this just the internet. This is the nature of the internet, I guess, for grabbing artwork, for utilizing artwork of Pepe Larraz to create a cover for a DC title. And I don't know if Johnny has the example for us that he can show on the screen. Here you go. But yeah, this is from Screen Rant. But on the left is the Pepe Larraz piece featuring Polaris, I believe it is. On the right is Joelle Jones's piece featuring, I want to say that's Donna Troy. For an upcoming Wonder Woman title called The Trial of the Amazons. And so here's the thing. There is a history in comics of artists swiping other artists. And like, of course, once that happened, the floodgates opened up and the Twitter detectives, right, went to work and found other examples of Joelle Jones's art where she is, quote unquote, swiping another artist. And so I'll just leave it at that before I editorialize, before we talk about this, because I want to give you guys a chance to sound off on this and also want to introduce the segment. So Ashton, take it away.
Sure. So with all of that said, we asked you guys to kind of weigh in on where you feel about this. We asked you how you feel about homages versus art swiping, and if you felt like this was a tribute or a swipe. So let's see what you guys had to say. Kevin says, if it's not an instantly recognizable image, like the covers for Spider-Man 1, Secret Wars 8, Incredible Hulk 340, you're not doing an homage, you're just stealing. Even then, you owe some credit, at least right after, quote unquote, original artist by your signature. Donnie says, I think as long as you can put a credit on your art when homaging an artist such as After Todd, if recreating Spider-Man #1 cover, then it should be fine. But if you don't give any credit at all, then it's a swipe. Cyrus says, I love homage covers, get very irritated by ripoffs with no credit to the original artist. Brian says, better than all these goofballs making money on TikTok who just mime words from songs and comedians. All right. I see you, Brian.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
Scott says, swiping is just what the comic book industry calls plagiarism, and it's not the same thing as an homage. For example, Vanilla Ice using Under Pressure for Ice Ice Baby was a swipe because it was done without permission, and he tried to pass it off as original because of a simple addition. In this light, an homage would be more like a cover song, like Bad Wolves covering Zombie by the Cranberries. I feel like he really unpacked that for swipe or no swiping.
Oh, it's Johnny, of course it is.
It is Johnny. I just feel like I involuntarily said swipe or no swiping.
Right.
Like I've been conditioned.
So are those all the comments, Johnny, that we have? I want Johnny to jump in here too, actually, because I feel like he might have some interesting points about this.
Why do you think I have anything interesting to say?
You always have interesting things to say, Johnny. Don't discredit yourself.
Yes, don't credit yourself, Johnny. It's okay. Ashton, I mean, like, I think, when I placed the question on social media, I felt like is this, the difference between an homage and a swipe? And I think maybe people might be misunderstood this. This might have been my fault because I might have worded it incorrectly. But it's a thin line between an homage and a swipe, right?
Sure.
Like, because you could easily be an artist and just want to swipe something and then call it an homage and then like be able to back away from it and just be like, oh, it's just an homage to somebody else, but then the inverse of that, of course, is that you just swipe and you just don't say anything. So that's kind of what I was getting at. But there is a moral dilemma that comes from this, and I was definitely in the Cartoonist Kayfabe Facebook group over the weekend, seeing people really kind of going at it about this, because there's a couple of angles here. But I'm curious up front, what is your initial reaction to this?
Yeah, so my kind of knee-jerk reaction, without giving it a lot of time to percolate, is this kind of feels like a swipe. I do agree with the point that it's like, it seems difficult to pay homage to something that's very obscure or, not well known, not iconic. Like, those are the things you typically pay homage to. So it kind of feels like you almost can't, and I don't want to go as far to say you totally can't, but you almost can't pay homage to something that doesn't feel like it's left some sort of imprint. So I don't know. This just feels like plagiarism to me. I know that's a very condemning hot take to make on the fly, but that's kind of my knee-jerk reaction.
So I mean, my concept, my question in following that up is, what do you think should happen? Like, is there like should she be like banned to the wasteland? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what should because I asked that just because there's a lot of people that just kind of feel like this is such an offensive thing that she shouldn't be allowed to work in comics. You know what I mean? And so I'm just kind of wondering, is this like, does the punishment fit the crime? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that seems, I don't know. That seems kind of like a big reaction to just like eject her from her career. I mean, and any sort of like blackballing that takes place would have to be kind of determined by the publishers, right? Like, I mean, the court of public opinion only goes so far, and you might feel like you maybe want her to be blackballed, but I mean, ultimately, publishers are going to make that decision. And that seems like a big decision. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there, because I mean, plagiarism's not cool and it's not okay. And there certainly should be repercussions. I don't know that I'm the person that should be doling them out, but definitely shouldn't be able to fly.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I like, so there are other layers to this, right? Of course, right?
Okay.
So there is this, I want editorialize first. I'll get to the initial point here, which is that there is a prevailing attitude that if comic book creators were paid a fair wage, right, and not constantly under the gun because of deadlines, you would not see the level of swiping that you do see, right? And mind you, I don't think that it's something that's rampant in comics, but at the same time, you know when you know, I guess it's one of those things, right? Like you recognize it. I kind of come on the other side of this, right? Which is that, well, I think it's actually part of that argument, which is that, yes, deadlines are unforgiving, and at the end of the day, a comic artist is still a job. And you know what? Look, sometimes when those deadlines are rushing in on you, you take shortcuts. And, artists use references, right? And we acknowledge that. And we accept that they use references. Now, there is a difference between referencing something and taking some tracing paper and drawing on top of it, or the modern equivalent, taking a Photoshop layer, making it transparent, and then drawing on top of it. You know what I mean? But I'm not kind of into this weird faux sanctimonious, thing that kind of comes from people about this. Like, I feel like on some level, everybody swipes.
Okay, sure. I mean, all fiction is fan fiction, right?
Right. Like in some levels, everybody's, well, I mean, even more specifically, in terms of drawing. I feel like I said, people use references, right?
Yeah.
Like for example, the Star Wars comics, right? You look at the Star Wars comics, how do you think they're able to get the likenesses of Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford, et cetera, right? It's because they're literally taking probably screen grabs from the movies and repurposing them, right?
Right.
Now, again, a thin line. And that's kind of where I'm at with this. It's like, it's a very fine line.
Sure.
Like with Joelle Jones's specific situation, you know, I don't feel like she should be banned. Like I don't feel like she should be kicked off I don't feel like she should be kicked off Catwoman for this. Like, you know, I think
that feels like a big reaction.
That feels like a very big reaction. And I feel like people are being a little bit mean-spirited about it. And I also kind of want to say, and you know, I don't just throw this word out there like all willy-nilly, but I feel like it's a little sexist too. Just a little bit.
Interesting.
And the only reason I say that is because I'm not going to name names, but there are popular artists who most definitely swipe. I just used a Star Wars example as a point of that, right?
Right.
But there are artists who have been in this game for years who have created characters that people love, that have been known to swipe, and people definitely don't come at them with the same level of vitriol, it seems. And these people are male, you know, I kind of buried the lead there. So yeah, it's a tough one. I think that, you know, Joelle Jones should have been a little bit smarter in terms of, you know, you're doing a superhero comic. There's any number of superhero movies that you could have grabbed a pose from, like, you know what I mean? And put it on this cover instead of pulling from Pepe Larraz's artwork. I'm actually very curious what Pepe Larraz feels about this, because my other thing is, you know, she might not get banned by the publishers, but you know, it might impact her ability, her relationship with other artists, you know?
Sure.
Now, keep in mind, I've never looked at Joelle Jones's work and not thought to myself, oh, she's heavily referencing stuff. I've always noticed that about Joelle Jones. Like, her stuff just looks a little too I don't want to say photorealistic, but just photo specific, if that's a word. You know what I mean? You know, Greg Land's been working in comics for years, and he does the same thing. You know, and again, I'll just, like the Star Wars example, I think the Star Wars comics are rife with the references to, or at least like, I swear, I think that they're just taking screen grabs, putting them on Photoshop, and then drawing over the actual like character in the movies. You know what I mean? So I'm rambling, but it's a very thin line, and I don't quite know if, you know, persecuting people to the ends of the earth is actually the answer here. I think there's a bigger question about deadlines, about the amount of crunch that the artists have to do on these things. Also, keep in mind that Joelle Jones writes and draws Catwoman. You know, so there's also that too. I don't know if she wrote and drew this Amazon's Wonder Woman book, but she does both of those things. Like, she's a writer and an artist. So, you know, it's just something to consider. I don't know if you had anything to say about this, Johnny. Sorry, you kind of ran off.
No, not really. I mean, I'm just looking at the Twitter post. We have to give credit to Samuli47. It looks like. I'm not a trained eye at this at all. But just looking at these, like, we've read comics for years, and how many times have we seen a group shot where it's just like a big team of superheroes just like kind of like landing like and flying like towards like you're coming out towards the reader. I mean, like it's a common thing. So I personally don't see it that much. I mean, if we analyze enough, we could go back and find, you know, stuff that looks like it's like almost identical to like things from years ago. So I mean, but then I look a little bit further and then I see that.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, that's a little bit more than coincidence, I think. So,
right.
But I mean, I agree with you, Troy. I don't think, like, you know, Joelle Jones should be at all condemned. You know, maybe it's like a matter of just time constraints and time crunches. So I don't think I don't think it's anything like worth, like, you know, vilifying her over this.
Yeah. I mean, she got busted, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that's enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if she's a repeat offender, like some artists are repeat offenders, you know what I mean? Then that's one thing. But if, like, you know, she got busted and she just stops doing it, I think that's fine. It's just Joelle Jones, for God's sakes. Just just use a screen grab from a movie next time. Like, you know, it'd be like a superhero movie. There's so many superhero movies that just people just taking off in the sky. You know what I mean? I got some statements here. Sam X, what's up, Sam X? Sanctimonious is a perfect word for the attitude of modern fans. That's, you know, granted. It said, how can you write and draw Firefly without being derivative? I mean, that's also a fair point, right? I mean, it's a TV show, and it's kind of the same thing. All these licensed properties that have like comic adaptations, I guarantee you the artists are tracing or on some level, like, you know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you that. Jeff Swab said maybe the art director said to do it. Now, you know, that thing, that's another interesting thing. Like, you know, you might want to hold the feet to the fire for no, that doesn't make sense. Hold the editor's feet to the fire. That's
there it is.
Right. There you go. Yeah. On that one, I don't know, but yeah, it's like a little weird. I get it, but I just don't think that it's that we got to break out the pitchforks for her. I think like just let her go.
Why did you say even pitchforks? Because I was actually about to say like the internet is so much of a mob mentality. Like you just say one thing and then everyone starts piling one. And you get to a point where it's like, do we even actually think this, or are we just yelling into the air?
I mean, there's also that, right? There's definitely an element of that. There's actually a Bollywood quote that I've seen trotted out over the last couple of days in reference to this conversation, and I'm going to butcher it, but Bollywood was like basically this, you know, I mean, he's a legend in comics. He's one of those guys who transitioned from the golden age to the silver age, worked on stuff like Daredevil, and a number of great like pulp comics. And there's a statement where he says, never originate what you can trace. Like, you know, never draw what you can paste up, which is basically like, you know, just cut it out and just slap it on a thing and then draw over it. You know what I mean? And I think that's a reality for a lot of artists who work on deadlines in comic books. I think that that's something that, you know, maybe we need to also talk about when having this conversation. So that's all. I don't have the answers, but, you know, I just think that like people are just being a little too mean about this. Like she didn't rig the election. Like, it's like,
okay.
You know what I mean? Like, let's back up a little bit here. You know what I mean? Anyway, all right. It is 58 minutes in, and we got quite a bit more to cover. So let's run through this real quick. Weekly poll, Ashton. What is the weekly poll for this?
Weekly poll. Monday was Valentine's Day, so we asked you guys. We are talking about love in all the wrong ways. Which of these couples is the most toxic? And your choices are Joker and Harley Quinn, Scott and Jean Grey, or the Archie, Betty, Veronica love triangle mess.
There you go. So, Johnny, for the sake of time, just cast your vote real quick.
It's obviously Harley Quinn and Joker. I don't think there's any kind of argument about that.
Let's see.
So, yeah, 72.7%. I mean, looking at some of the comments, it's like, I mean, Joker literally tried to kill Harley. So, absolutely, the Harley and Joker. The other ones are just drama and competition and cheating or whatever. But Joker is literally crimes and abuse. So,
all right, fair enough. That's all right. Although I want to point out, Betty, Veronica, and Archie are right behind each other.
Yo, it's so tough. Like, that is a hot dysfunctional mess. That whole thing.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's a big gap, but like, yeah, they're behind Harley Quinn and Joker. Also, Ashton, what is this week's comic shop shout out?
All right, this week's comic shop shout out goes to Comic Headquarters in St. Louis, and it comes from our friend, not sure, Dennis. So we'll show you some pictures of Comic Headquarters at the end of the show. You can see those during the credit rolls, get a peek inside their store. If you want us to shout out your local comic book shop on the show, find us on social media, tag your shop. If they don't have a handle, you just leave their name and use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS. We'll find your local comic book shop and shout them out on the show.
All right. And I want to real quick tell people, like, follow, and subscribe. To me, I'm on PREVIEWSworld, and you can like, follow, and subscribe to Ashton at
Free Comic Book Day, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
All right. And also want to point out real quick, I have 2 interviews on the website right now. One is for a title called Stable from Heavy Metal Comics, Heavy Metal Magazine more specifically, which kind of answers this interesting question about like, you know, basically aliens have given us, it's basically Noah's Ark, actually. That's the best way I'll put it. It's basically sci-fi Noah's Ark, right? And the aliens have gifted us these arks to go into space to maintain the survival of humanity. And it's a very interesting fallout, but there's definitely a fun interview with Matthew Medney and Morgan Rosenblum, the writers in that book. Also, Buckhead, there's an interview with writer Shobo about his title Buckhead and New Masters, which is an Image title. Shobo, of course, is a Nigerian writer. He's been kind of making waves here in the States. He now lives in Washington. He did a great book called Buckhead, which is about immigrating to the United States, but also kind of involves video games, which is actually kind of interesting, kind of fun. And it's a horror thing from Boom Studios. And so definitely check that out. That's available at your local comic shop right now. New Masters as well. Sorry, guys, ran out of time. Kind of stumbled through that last bit, but hey, until next time, I'm Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm Ashton Greenwood.
And we'll see you guys at the Spinner Rack. Catch you later.
Don't forget that you can catch Previews World Weekly streaming live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific at Previews World on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.